28 people die every day in America as a result of a drunk driving accident. My goal today is to give you facts and stories about drunk driving that will hopefully persuade you into thinking the next time you get behind the wheel when you are impaired. Driving drunk is one of our nation's most frequently committed violent crimes. Everyone is responsible for his or herself when they are drinking. Failure not to take this responsibility seriously can have potentially extreme consequences. In 2013, 10,076 people died in drunk driving crashes. That is one crash every 52 minutes. In addition to deaths, 290,000 people were injured due to drunk driving. In 1980, Candy Lightner founded Mothers Against Drunk Driving, also known as MAD. This organization was founded after Lightner's daughter, Carrie Lightner, age 13, was tragically struck and killed by Clarence Bush. When the police arrested Bush, they discovered he had a record of arrest for intoxication and had been arrested less than 1 week earlier on another hit-and-run charge. Miss Lightner learned that drunk driving was rarely prosecuted very harshly, and Bush would more than likely be free after a very short sentence. This infuriated Candy, and after pairing up with some other mothers who had suffered the same loss, Mothers Against Drunk Driving was born. For the past 35 years, MAD has been behind much of the progress made in the education of drivers and the prevention of drinking and driving. In 2002, they announced what they called the 8-point plan. First point of the plan is to restore the nation's efforts to prevent impaired driving. The second point was to increase DUI enforcement by frequently using highly publicized sobriety checkpoints. Thirdly, enact primary enforcement seatbelt laws in all states. The fourth point is to create tougher, more comprehensive sanctions geared toward higher risk drivers. The fifth is to develop a dedicated national traffic safety fund. Sixth, reduce underage drinking. Seventh, increase beer excise taxes to the same level as a liquor tax. And lastly, reinvigorate court monitoring programs. In 2000, MAD campaigned to lower the nation's legal blood count from 0.1 to 0.08, and in 2004, after years of persistence, the bill passed in all 50 states. Today, Mothers Against Drunk Driving has helped save over 330,000 lives, and that number is still increasing. It is important as 20-somethings and older to remember that when we get behind the wheel after drinking, we are putting more than just our lives in danger, and Mothers Against Drunk Driving has done an excellent job of advocating awareness to everyone. A chronic drunk driver is someone who has driven impaired over 1,000 times before being caught. They generally do not respond to social pressures, law enforcement, or have the messages that have been combined to reform drinking and driving behavior. Chronic drunk drivers comprise only a small percentage of all drivers, and yet they cause the most accidents. Studies have shown that people aged 21 to 34 comprise approximately half of all drunk drivers, and that are in alcohol-related fatal accidents. They are also responsible for more fatal accidents than any other age group and generally seem to have the highest blood alcohol content. This is where our problem starts. You can make people aware of it, but they do not seem to want to change their drinking patterns. About 1/3 of all drivers arrested for DUIs are repeat offenders. Every single injury and death caused by a drunk driver is 100% preventable. It is extremely important to know your limit and be responsible if you plan to exceed that limit. People believe that drinking coffee, taking a shower, eating food, drinking water, and getting fresh air will potentially help them sober up. However, none of those things have been proven effective. That is why it is especially important to have a backup plan when you plan to drink heavily. In the past decade or so, 4 times as many Americans died in a drunk driving related accident. We have come a great deal since the 80s when MAD was founded. Alcohol-related fatal crashes have declined steadily since 1987 and recently stood at an 18-year low of 33.6%. While those statistics are great to see, we have a long way to go. As college-age adults, we tend to try to fit in with the crowd, but fitting in can easily land you behind a jail cell. As a whole, Kentucky has some extreme punishments for drinking and driving. When you drink and drive, you are risking your freedom, finances, future, and many lives, including your own. The first time you receive a drunk driving conviction in Kentucky, you will be fined anywhere from $200 to $500. You could also spend 2 to 30 days in jail at your local jail or receive 2 to 30 days of community service, depending on the situation, and your driver's license will also be suspended for 30 to 120 days. Some other states go to the extreme of temporarily impounding your vehicle, a fine up to several $1,000s, installation of an ignition lock that prevents your car from starting if you've been drinking, probation, possible jail time, suspension of your license, community service, and completion of a substance abuse class at your own expense. If you have multiple prior convictions, you can be prosecuted in any state for a felony DUI, even if no accident even occurred. If the accident results in death, you can be charged with manslaughter or vehicular homicide, both of which can lead to imprisonment for years or even decades. Then there is the public humiliation that both you and your loved ones can and will face because of your choices, especially if someone is hurt in any way. I personally do not believe that a lifetime of shame and possible jail time is worth getting behind the wheel of a vehicle when I know I should not have been there in the first place. As an adult, we are given many responsibilities and should be able to make wise decisions in accordance with those responsibilities. Drinking is no different. If you cannot handle the responsibility, then you just shouldn't do it. Drunk driving affects many people every day. 28 people die every day in America as a result of drunk driving, as a result of a drunk driving accident. My hope is that through our discussion of MAD, statistics of drunk drivers, and the consequences of driving drunk, that you will think twice before you get behind the wheel of a vehicle drunk. Driving drunk is one of our nation's most frequently committed violent crimes. Everyone is responsible for his or herself when they are drinking, and failure to not take this responsibility seriously can and will have extreme consequences. If you have a mother, father, sister, or friend, next time you get behind the wheel of your car after you've been drinking, think of them. What if somebody did to them what you could potentially do to somebody else? Would it completely alter your world as you know it? Be responsible and don't drink and drive.